Okay, so today we're doing a cosecant graph, and to start these off, you always refer to the guide graphs for cosine and sine, and cosecant, you refer to the sine graph. So you're going to start just drawing out your regular graph. You do everything as you normally would for a sine graph. Your amplitudes are going to be 1 and -1, and your period, to find your period, you do 2 pi, which is your old period, and you divide it by the number you find here, and so that gives you the new period of pi. So our new equation is y equals negative cosecant of pi times x minus pi over 8. So now we can start graphing it. We use our period to find our x coordinates. So pi, and you divide that by 2 to make pi over 2. You take a half of that to make it pi over 4. And then you take 3 times that to find your midpoint right there, which is 3 pi over 4. And so now you just do your regular sine guide graph. So you take it and you hit these guide points right here. Pi over 4 goes to 1, pi over 2, 0, 3 pi over 4, -1, and you finally are going to end up on the x-axis. So you do your guide graph, making sure everything is nonlinear. So there it is. And then the next step is inversing all the y coordinates because of the negative right there. So you take this and you make the 1 a -1. The 0 is going to stay 0 when you inverse it, or when you make it the opposite. You take the -1 and make it a +1, and the 0 stays 0 again. So your new guide graph looks like this. And then the next step that we have is moving all the x coordinates to the right by pi over 8, because that affects the x coordinates. So pi over 8 is half of a tick mark of this. So we're going to move each of these over half a tick mark. So our origin point is going to be right there. We take the pi over 4 and make it, need to make a common denominator by times it by 2, so it's 3 pi over 8 for this point right here. And so we move this to there. The pi over 2, you need to multiply them both by 4, so you get 5 pi over 8 for this one. Oh, sorry. So that's going to be 5 pi over 8, and this coordinate's going to go there. And then you move your 3 pi over 4 coordinate, times them both by 2, which makes 7 pi over 8. And that coordinate is going to be right here. And then finally you move your pi over 1 plus pi over 8. Oops. 8 pi, 8. So it's going to be 9 pi over 8. And so that's your last coordinate that we have right here. So you take your coordinates and your new sine guide graph. It's all those guide points. Oh, sorry. Your new sine graph following the inverse is going to be right here. It's going to hit all your guide points and finally end up right there. And then because it's a cosecant graph, cosecant is 1 over sine, so you need to do the inverse of all of your things, of your points. And your points that you're looking at, that you need to make your asymptotes all the times that your graph hits the x-axis. So it's going to be this bottom curve right here that we just did. You need to make it go right here, because it's inversing these points right here, and it's going to keep approaching the not the x-axis. It's going to keep approaching the asymptote, and it's never going to hit it. So you just make it go all the way down. And then you do the same for up here. You take the inverse of these coordinates, and you're going to go up like this, and you're going to go up like this. And these two lines, or these two curves, are your final graph.